Hey guys, and welcome to course number 17. And in this course, we're going to be teaching you how to stock a pantry.
So, Jenna, I have a question for you. What's your favorite after school snack?
Hmm. My favorite after school snack is one pot pasta, which I'll be teaching you how to make later.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. I actually enjoy to eat popcorn. I think I've mentioned it before that I'm a very big fan of popcorn. So, for me, I would say that my number one is popcorn for sure.
That sounds so good. I love popcorn. So, a pantry is a place in your kitchen that you can store food in. And a pantry is really important because it helps you see which food you have on hand and what you can make with the food that you already have.
So, where here's what a pantry looks like. So, here we have a picture of Jenna's pantry, and actually, right here, I have a huge pantry on my back. So, you can see what a pantry looks like. I'm pretty sure you can recognize it. You can go to the kitchen. This is almost most of the time very close to your kitchen or refrigerator. So, you can open that little closet that has the stored foods, and this closet is called a pantry, like Jenna explained.
So when we go ahead to stock our pantry, we should only put things that can be stored in dry places and that do not need to be refrigerated. And when you're helping your parents bring in the groceries, if you're unsure, you should go ahead and ask them to make sure that you can make sure your food is fresh and good.
So, why do some foods need to be stored in the fridge and cannot go into the pantry? So, this is because these foods have to be kept at a very low temperature, that it's only on the fridge. So, for example, milk, yogurt, all of these foods cannot be stored in the pantry. They need to be kept at a specific temperature that, as I said, can only be reached at the fridge. So this keeps that food safe and good for us to eat and enjoy.
And then, just like Camila answered the question of why do some foods need to be in the fridge, why do some foods need to be in the freezer? And freezing some foods can help them stay good longer. And it also keeps them from getting too hot and melting. For example, like frozen vegetables, it keeps them vegetables for good longer. And ice cream. If ice cream gets hot and is in the fridge or the pantry, we can't eat it.
I love ice cream so much. What's your favorite flavor?
I think my favorite flavor has to be Rocky Road ice cream. What about you?
I think I like cookies and cream a lot. I
Oh,
put
cookies and
extra
cream.
Oreos on top and it tastes delicious.
Oh my goodness. Next time you have ice cream, I'm coming over because I want to put Oreos on top of my ice cream.
I'll teach you. I'll teach you. It's amazing. So, no more talking about ice cream. Now we're gonna talk about pantry. So the foods that we can put on our pantry. So these are some examples. We have some pictures here of some dried fruits that we can dried beans or canned beans, tomatoes, applesauce that we can put on our pantry. And these are other examples of foods that we can put in our pantry, such as pasta, dried fruit, and rice.
Well, let's go make something to eat from my pantry. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make one pot pasta, which is my favorite after school snack, like we just talked about.
That sounds delicious. I'm excited to learn.
And so for your one pot pasta, if you wanted to make it, you're going to need a pot, a colander, a measuring cup, and a spoon. And of course, you're going to need some noodles and a sauce. I use tomato sauce.
Hi guys, here's how I make one pot pasta. I'm going to get out my whole grain spaghetti and put it on the counter. Then I'm going to grab out my diced tomatoes in a can. For this, I picked garlic, oregano, and basil, but you can use any type you want. Here I'm going to turn on my stove, but you might want to ask a parent's help for this one. And I'm also going to get out my pan, and I'm going to get 4 cups of water into a measuring cup. Now I've got to get all 4 cups of water into that pan. Let's see if I can do it. So here we go. Yay, I did it! I'm so surprised. Now, we're going to be really careful to put our pot on the stove since it should be hot by now. It might be best to ask a parent for help for this part. Yay, it's on the stove! So now we gotta wait for it to boil. While we're waiting for the water to boil, we're gonna go ahead and open our can of tomatoes. I'm using a can opener to open it, and it's taking a little bit of time. So once it's all open, we're going to go ahead and be really careful when taking the top off. It's a little sharp, so we might want to watch our fingers, and this might be another part where it might be best to ask our parents for help. I probably should have asked my mom to do this part for me because it was a little tricky getting the top of the can off. So now that our water's boiling, we're going to go ahead and put our spaghetti in there. I chose to do a small handful that was the appropriate serving size for just me, since I'm the only one that usually eats it. Be really careful though, the water might splash. The spaghetti is going to take about 7 minutes to be done. And look, it's almost done. While it's cooking, let's make sure to stir occasionally so it doesn't stick to the bottom. But there we go. There's our spaghetti, and it's almost ready to be poured out into the colander. So now we're going to take our colander to the sink and put it in there, and then we're going to grab our pot. This is another pot that might be useful for our parents' help, but the pot might be hot. We're going to pour the spaghetti into the colander and give it a shake to make sure we've got all the spaghetti. And then once you have all the spaghetti out, we're going to go ahead and grab the colander and give it a little bit of a shake to make sure the water's out. Once our water's out, let's bring the spaghetti over to our bowl, and we're going to go ahead and pour it in there. After our spaghetti is in, we're going to pour our tomatoes. Pour as much or as little as you want. And once that is done, you're done. I usually give mine a little bit of a good mix to make sure it's all put together and in there. This is my favorite afternoon snack. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of mozzarella cheese on top because I love cheese. But thanks for tuning in, you guys, and I hope you enjoy making one.
Jenna, that looks so delicious. I'm going to try it.
You should. It was so good after I finished cooking it. I loved it.
And that mozzarella cheese on top, I think it gives it that right kick of flavor.
It does.
So here, we have a little worksheet. So the idea is that you're gonna apply the knowledge that you learned today on this worksheet. So we're gonna separate the foods items that we have right here on the bottom, and we're gonna decide whether this should be put on the fridge or on the pantry. So for example, Jenna, where do you think we would put the milk? On the fridge or on the pantry?
I think we would put the milk in the fridge.
Good job. You learned so fast. So I think you guys could do the rest. So the idea is, like I said, for example, the ice cream, I believe that if we put it on the pantry, that will become a smoothie for sure. So I hope you guys can finish this worksheet and let us know how it goes.
So the second worksheet that we have for you guys is kind of like the last worksheet that we did, except this one, we're going to go and help Chef Salus organize his pantry. And we're going to go ahead and cross out the different food items that don't belong on the shelf. So Camila and I worked really hard on this one. Can you guys guess which was the first item that we found that didn't belong on the shelf? If you said milk, you're right. Milk doesn't belong on the shelf. It belongs in the fridge to keep it good. So we went ahead and crossed that one out. Can you guys help us find the other items that don't belong on the shelf? We'd really appreciate it.
I think they can, for sure. And then lastly, we have a little block groceries. So it's a blank grocery list. So the idea is that you're gonna put what you bought on each category. So for example, in vegetables, you're gonna say if you bought some broccoli, some celery, or some carrots, you're gonna put them here. Also, same as for grains or for milk or meat. And honestly, as you guys learned today, you know where to store all the foods. So the idea is you're gonna help your parents store them in the right places.
So in conclusion, today we learned about how we can stock a pantry and what items we can put in there. And we also learned what items that we can't put in a pantry and what items would be better off in a fridge or a freezer.
So thank you guys so much for joining us one more time. I hope that you learned a little bit more about pantries and a little bit more about storing foods at the right places. So now you can actually help your parents not only get the groceries from the cart to the house, but actually help them store it in the house. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
See you next time, guys. Bye.